Okay, I think we're gonna start. Right. So good evening. It's recorded. So hopefully those who registered will receive the recording. Good evening, everyone. And okay, everyone's turned their camera off. Maybe I'll turn mine off. That's fine. Okay, so welcome to this evening's free webinar, and it is being organized by Sterling Tech Solutions. I will talk about Sterling Tech Solutions shortly. Let me move that there. Down here. And tonight we're talking about so today we're just going to look at it, how to apply for NHS jobs or the hacks and the things that you need to be aware of, the steps that will help you in your job application if that's something that you're considering. It's important that you tailor to suit the requirements of the NHS. A lot of people expressed interest, but I'm not sure why people are not here. But so we will not wait, we'll go ahead. And so I'm not going to be doing all the talking because we have people who have walked this journey and they will be able to share from their experience, what things to be mindful of, how to go about your application. Sorry, trying to move this thing away from here. Mhm. I'm trying to minimize that. Sorry, 1 second. Give me a second. My screen. Okay. Yeah. Got there. So let's take this again. Okay, so who are we? Selling Tech Solutions. We are the organizers of this webinar, and we are a training and coaching organization offering online training in project management, business analysis, data protection, and privacy. And part of what you get is, of course, you learn about soft skills development, how to presentation skills and communication and all the likes, because that is very important in this job market. And we are made up of IT business domain experts who are experienced across financial services, higher education, travel, retail, automotive, pharmaceutical. So our mentors have worked across all of these various domains. And so we've got a wealth of experience. And our boot camps are really practical, hands-on. So you have an opportunity to work on live projects. But whether internal or external live projects, you get an opportunity to do that, and everything is done virtually. So you can join us from anywhere. We have people joining us from Canada, from the States, from the UK, even from Africa. So everything is done remotely. And our courses we run them in the evening so that you can keep your job. You're doing your 9 to 5 job. And then the evening and weekends is when we tend to run our classes. So it's very, very flexible. And so you can, we tailor, to suit a lot of particular situations as best as we can. So yeah, that's what we do. And tonight we have decided to put this together because we know there is a lot of interest within our own internal community, those who are now applying for jobs, and even external. So people are looking for sponsorship. So it's not easy really to be able to get those jobs that offer visa sponsorship. And so what we have done is to do some research to look at narrow it down so people are more laser focused in the sense that you start applying straight up to organizations that you know offer sponsorship rather than you actually going through the application process, and then you find out halfway that they actually don't offer sponsorship if that is a requirement, if that's something you need. So we are saying we've now been able to identify the NHS and the civil service as amongst several others. Of course, we're not saying that, you don't have private sector, private organizations that offer visa sponsorship, but at least we know for a fact that these two are areas that you can look at. And so we've narrowed that down, and we have now put this webinar together to say, okay, how do you go about it? We have brought two people who have been through the Sterling Tech community, and they're now within the NHS. And so they will be sharing their experience and hacks and tips that you can go through in order for you to get to where they are today and for you to get into the NHS. So without further ado, I will hand over to Lorena, who will introduce herself, maybe tell us a little bit about where her journey started, and then she goes straight into the slides to say, okay, where do you start from? What are the tips? And then Adebola also will come on and share her own story and tell us what are the things that one needs to look out for when you start that application. And we'll also tell you about how, if you want to be a part of our community to get more. So we're going to have mentors coming on from the civil services and other areas that will be supporting a new membership community that we are starting in a few days. So over to you, Lorena, and welcome everyone. Hello, Lorena.
Good evening, Veronica. Good evening,
Hello.
everyone.
Good evening.
I was trying to get to my unmute button.
Okay, that's fine.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to today's meeting. Hi, Adebola. I'm so happy to have you on the call as well. I'm just going to share my screen and I'll talk through that if that's okay.
Oh, you're sharing from your end, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Are you sharing for me? I don't mind.
No, if it's the same slide, isn't it? So if
All right, that's fine. That's fine. So just move from
so
there
maybe
then.
we talk about your journey, and then I can just flick through the slides. You just tell me
Yeah,
when you're ready.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so a little bit about myself. I'm Lorena, um, an ex-student in
Mhm.
Sterling. So I would say Sterling was that, everything when it comes to application, whether job, NHS or any application at all, everything you have, every experience you have is important. It's okay, because you still get transferable skills from those bits. So Sterling was another block in all of my experience that got me where I am today. Um, I was a teacher, still a teacher. Funny enough, Veronica, in this my role, I do a lot of teaching. I know I've not said it. I do a
Really?
lot of training.
Okay.
So for doctors, yeah, I have 25 doctors to train tomorrow. Yeah,
Wow.
that's why I said every experience you have is a building block.
Matters. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was a teacher. I taught computer science, and I was tired of the classroom. Yeah, like classroom teaching computer science. I wanted something more, and then I wanted project management, and then I got to Sterling. And Sterling, I would say the time I spent in Sterling, when I think about it, I feel like it's a lifetime
Mm.
because I got a lot of experience, a lot of the experience I needed in project management, the skills, the knowledge, the experience for project management in Sterling. Managed projects, managed people, managed timelines, managed everything. So Sterling was that place I got all the equipping I needed for project management. Um, and then of course did a lot of applications. I wanted project NHS or any public service really because of the flexibility. Um, so I wanted NHS. I applied for NHS and then the civil service. I had lots of application. I'll let Adebola, talk about hers, but meeting with Adebola, she's also from Sterling. When she got her own job in NHS, I was like, okay, so let me see what magic did you do? And thankfully she shared, and I know she'll be sharing with us today. And built on that, I built on that um, information from Adebola. And here I am today, an ICT project officer with the NHS. Um, and that's it about me, really. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So do you want to take us through your slides just to, from your experience of applying for jobs because your focus was the NHS. So I would
Yeah.
flick through the slides. Okay. Oops. Oh, am I going back? Oh, sorry. Yep.
All right. So, most jobs in NHS. So I did. As at the time I was talking to Adebola, I had over 20 NHS applications. I'd gone for interviews, both in for NHS and outside NHS. Um, and then Adebola gave me, I like giving honor to whom honor is due. So yeah, you'd hear me mention Adebola because I contacted her and then she gave me that insight into what she did. So from what I have noticed in the applications I've done, especially NHS wouldn't give you feedback, but
Mm,
civil service will.
okay.
So from the civil service standpoint, which is also up close to NHS because um, there must be would I say in teaching, we call it a marking scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Must be a
Standard.
marking
Yeah.
guide, yeah, but it's civil service that shows you that. NHS doesn't show you that.
Okay.
So what I did again was to make sure that my responses reached this particular grading system. Now, this grading system I got to know from civil service, but that told me that, okay, there's something you would add to there's a way you would, write your responses. It will score maybe one or two or, seven was the highest. So I always made sure that my responses would fall or grade between six and seven so that whatever grading they are using my application, my responses would be up there.
So,
So
so sorry, quickly on that one, how do you check for the score? So are you saying that the civil service actually tells you each grade and how to score up to 6 to 7? Or is that
that
something you learned over time?
so after so many applications, when civil service gets back to you,
Mm,
even if they say you're not moving forward or whatever, there's a feedback
okay,
on the portal. Yeah.
okay.
On that feedback, you would see, maybe I should have gotten one example. On that feedback, you would see now there are two gradings. One is for your CV and another one is for your supporting statements.
Mm,
So they grade your CV with this grading scoring system as well. So one for maybe not effective, two for they just tell you what those things represent and tell you the score for your CV and for your maybe before the end, once I'm done, I'll go and fetch an example and send to
okay,
you.
okay,
So they grade your CV and your supporting statement. Yeah. So I usually make sure that my CV and supporting statements, and then it is how you word. Yeah, well, I'll get to that point. It is how you word both your CV, the responsibilities and skills and responsibilities on your CV, and then your supporting statement. So you need to have that at the back of your mind
okay,
when doing the applications. Yeah.
okay.
All right. So for the job description now, this is where the job of course, where the work starts.
Mm.
When you look at the job description, you have to make sure you look at it. You don't skip this bit. Now, I'll give an example. I just talked about how I am still training because I no longer like that classroom computer science teaching, but I still enjoy training. Even while I was in Sterling, I still like to show, like to show, like to teach, like to explain things to people. I still want to do that bit. So when I looked at this particular job description for this job I'm currently on, I just knew most of what is there is me. I can do everything there. I can do the training, I can do so my job currently sits in between IT support, service delivery, and project management. So I saw myself, I have a bit of experience in IT support. I have a bit of experience with service delivery. There was also training on there. I have, while I was a teacher, I was also the teacher training coordinator in that school. So for years. So I believed, I've been doing training. I can train people, whatever it is. So I saw myself in that role. I knew, like Veronica would say, once you meet 40% of it, just apply because you mustn't meet everything. But make sure you're applying. For example, there are some project management jobs you see on NHS and they're talking capital projects. I don't see myself applying for capital projects because I know little to nothing when it comes to construction, buildings, so I would struggle to manage such projects. So always make sure you look at the job description properly. So you're looking at the job description, the about you section on that job description. So they are saying on that job description, you say you will be doing this, you will be doing that. You need to pay attention to that. You also need to pay attention to the essential and desirable criteria. Like I said again, Veronica will say you must meet everything 100%. If you can do at least 40% to 50% on the app, you can apply. And then mirror the language used. You, of course, if you're part of Sterling, you already know that you want to tailor your CV to what is on the job description, down to, when we were doing ours, Veronica, I don't know if I mentioned it to you, the first time you introduced us to one particular CV tool.
Job scan. Job scan.
Yeah, yeah, job scan.
Mm-hmm.
And then my team and I were putting our CV through the job scanner. You'd be like, but I have this word on my CV. Why is it saying I don't have it?
It's the
And
way
it's
you
just the
phrase it.
disparity between American English and British English.
Mm.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that you're using the same words and language on your application supporting statement. Now that you're talking about NHS, you want to make sure that um your CV and your supporting statement are matching the language of the job description. Okay. Now, of course, this bit I'm just running through for those who are not in Sterling, but if you're in Sterling, you already know all of these bits because Veronica would have been hammering it, should have been saying it very well. So you understand that the words you use and how you use your words are important. That's where your star approach comes in. You want to show, you don't just want to tell that you have it. You want to show it through your words that you have this skill, you have this experience. So while you're describing your support your experience, for example, while you're maybe describing how you meet a particular criteria, you want to show. You want to show, you just don't want to tell. You want to show that you have it. We'll see examples anyway, as we go further.
Does it keep going?
Yeah. So, I would just say this for me, I don't know, when Abdibla comes on, she'll talk about For me, I believe that there are three key areas on your job application you should pay serious attention to: your supporting statement, your employment history, and the training bits. These three areas, I believe you should pay adequate attention to. So you cannot use one to many. Again, if you're in Sterling, you know that you cannot do one to many. So first, I'll be addressing the supporting statement bit. That part where you write, they'll tell you. Now, it can be divided into two parts. They can tell you, I know for civil service, they may ask you for supporting statement and then ask you um, about one of their values, maybe your strengths or behaviors for that application to write how you meet that behavior. But for NHS, sometimes, I think very rarely, they will just ask you for one or two particular essential criteria to write about it. They may just ask you only for your supporting statement. So it's only your supporting statement bit that you get to prove how meet how you have the experience and the skills for those. Now, you want to pay attention to this bit. First, your supporting statement must be structured according to the STAR approach. You must use the STAR approach. You must. And one thing I learned from Adebola's information when she gave me information about what she did. The STAR approach for every essential criteria. For every, I mean for every, I know it's sounding like, what do you mean? If there are 10, you may have to write how you meet those 10 essential criteria in your supporting statement. And if there are some desirable criteria that you know that are important, you would also have to, write about how you meet those. Now, what I was doing before was to write just a lump text of um, um, how I meet, just general. Yes, I use that approach, but not targeted to each of those essential criteria, showing how you meet each of them. So, and then you have to be concise because you got most applications have word limits. So some of them may be 500, some 750, some 1,000. Some don't have, but most times they have. You will not know until you have typed plenty into that um, supporting statement box, and then you see that you've gone beyond limit. So you have to be concise. Um, for also for your supporting statement, you have to give one strong example. That's where your star approach comes in. That's what I meant when I said you don't just tell, you show. So, for example, you have is a one of the criteria says you would know how to make complex information simple to people who are non-technical. If that's one of your essential criteria on a job, for me, for example, I have a background in education. I have taught for years. That's basically what I do from day to day as a teacher. So I can draw from that experience to say, I know and I've done this before by citing one experience or the other. And if the job is, say, for example, the job I do currently, where the users of the product are, non-technical at best, they are maybe doctors, older people, I have experience to draw from as well. As a trainer, I have trained several people to use different kind of tools and on different kind of skills. I can leverage on any of those experience, cite that as an example for that particular criteria in a concise way. And that's how I would write, how I meet that particular criteria. I don't know if it makes sense. So you want to use strong examples, not vague examples, strong examples of how you have, done something like that before and the results. Okay. Um, Also, something many people don't get to talk about is the values. They think maybe the value, because every NHS trust have their own values. They're thinking that maybe when they would ask you for the values is when you get to the interview. You must also look for a way to weave their values. So most times they add their values, the document, their value document as part of the document, the person specification, the job description, and their values on that NHS application. So you must look for a way to weave in their values in your responses for your application. I don't know if that makes sense.
Of course.
Yeah. Now, I talked about skills. This is my first time working in NHS. I didn't have any NHS experience. Even if it was mentioned on the job application, like for example, say they say one of the desirable criteria is previous NHS experience. Okay. I don't have any previous NHS experience, but it is how you communicate your past experience and skills. Now, we always talk about transferable skills, even in Sterling. You just have to know yourself in depth. You mustn't you just know the skills that you have gathered from your previous roles or previous experience. I also pulled on the experience I've had in the past in my volunteering journey, because I've also volunteered for non-profit organizations at different levels. I also had to pull on those experiences for my job applications. So it mustn't necessarily be, you know, even if you were, do it like I said, I was a teacher. There is nothing when you say teacher to project manager. You cannot really think of what is connecting, but it is. As a teacher, we do a lot of project management because every class, every lesson you have is a project, and you plan for those projects, for those classes you would have. You have things you would have to prepare to make sure that that project, which is your classroom, goes on. So there's a lot of similarities between teaching and project management. It's just you need to just think about, I'm talking about from a project management perspective. Now, you may be a BA, and if I think properly, maybe there's also some transferable skills in business analysis and in from that's also in teaching. It's just for us to just have that in-depth, just think very well what you have done in the past that you could leverage as a transferable skill in this new job you're applying for. So, like I said, my job currently has a little bit of IT support and service delivery. I have not really worked as an IT support person, but I have worked in different places. I remember, I have to give this example so that we understand, because not many people think about it like that. Before I got into the university, I had worked as a front desk, um, front what we call receptionist.
Yeah.
I've
Officer,
worked,
executive, whatever. Give it a
yeah,
name. Yeah.
yeah. I'd also worked as I've also worked in a cyber cafe before I got into the university. That's an IT sort of environment. So I could draw from that experience. I'm talking about things that have happened years and years ago, but I could draw from that experience because it is me that did that job. I've worked as a receptionist or whatever for a for a for a medical diagnostic center. I worked with a doctor there. In my interview, funnily, they asked me if you, one of the questions they asked me was, if you go to meet a doctor and say the person is under pressure and then the service was not working, what would you do? And you want to help them, they're just shouting and very, very rude that they don't want you to help. They were just angry because the tool they needed to use for their clinic was not working and you have to help. What would you do? They asked me that question. And funny enough, I have had such experience maybe 15 years ago working with a doctor. And that was the experience I cited as an example during the interview. So what I'm saying this is you may not you may think it's something that is very recent you have to bring up, but no, it doesn't have to be. That example I gave them, this is 2025. Yeah, that example is close to 15 years. So that's what I mean. You need to think about your past roles. I needed to say that script, very well so that people just think about it deeply. Um, um, so yeah, so you need to take note of the skills part of, yeah, yeah, yeah. So on your application, on your NHS application, there's always part that they will tell you qualifications and skills. You also need to tailor that part of the application. So they would ask you what training or certification it is, the training provider, the duration, and then the year you took it. You mustn't, it's not compulsory, it's optional. But I always take time to tailor that bit because if they are looking for some persons who have particular skills, because that application will tell you the skills they are looking for that job. So you must put in that you have those skills there and those skills or trainings or certifications there. Now, I don't put certifications, I put trainings because a training can be on the job and you didn't get any certificate for it. But for certifications, you need a certificate to prove. So for trainings, for example, if you're in Sterling and one of the major skills or trainings needed for that job is stakeholder management. In Sterling, you're doing that every time. As a project manager, that's what you're doing every time. So you may not need have a certificate to say you have undergone a training for stakeholder management, but you have been trained on the job on stakeholder management. Why I say stakeholder manager? Because there are a lot of project management jobs. Stakeholder management is a big deal. This example I've asked you, I just said now, I was asked in the interview, is an example of stakeholder management because those doctors on this project are stakeholders. They are big stakeholders. So how you um, interact with a stakeholder who is not, that's what that question basically is. How do you interact with a stakeholder who is being difficult? That's all it is. So on your job application, you want to highlight it there, the skills, the training. So now again, I use trainings because there may not be certificate to prove for it, but if you have certificate for them, that's fine. But I use trainings. If, for example, IT support trainings, there's if one of the major tools they say you're going to use SharePoint, or in Sterling currently you're using SharePoint. So you want to put that there as a skill you have, as a training you've got. Because even if you were not using SharePoint before, you came to Sterling and you're using SharePoint, they'll tell you what to do, how to use SharePoint. You've been trained on SharePoint, so add it on there. I
Lauren,
don't,
sorry, quickly. Not everybody is in Sterling, so maybe you talk about the Sterling. There's a few people from Sterling, but pe most people are external. So maybe you just be
yeah.
mindful, yeah, just to say, if it's something you've gained from another boot camp or anything else that you've done,
Right.
yeah. So yeah, just keep it generic.
Yeah. Okay, so um just think about it. So for example, they say one of the tools you would things you need to do is presentations, and you've been using presentation softwares like PowerPoint. You want to put it on there that you've got that, skill and experience. That's training on on your training bit. So tailor that training bit as well to meet the skills or trainings that are required for that job. Yeah. So tailoring is a big deal. Like I said, you're tailoring those three parts I've talked about, the skills, your supporting statement, and the employment history. Now, when it comes to your employment history, I've talked about the training, the skills part, I've talked about the supporting statement. Now, the employment history part, what I do is to tailor the first four experience I have on that's your CV now, because you're filling it in NHS. You know how the NHS application is, you're filling it in. So the first four, I tailor the responsibility part to meet that job. So you may say, oh, this is a lot of work. You cannot copy and paste, though. It cannot be the same thing. So because I know again that they say recruiters look at your application maybe for like 3 to 6 seconds. So there are certain things I believe they are looking at. They'll be looking at your job history and the supporting statement, even if the person is not too, you know, if you are doing that in 6 seconds, what exactly would you be looking at? That's the truth. And as long as that NHS application is usually very long, it's not the other bits, I feel they're HR bits. But the recruiter is looking at the things that show that you can do this job. And that's your CV and your supporting statement. If they like, yeah, they'll look at the training. So that's CV part, which is your employment history part. I usually tailor the first four to meet my, so you have your CV. I have my CV on one side, that's my normal CV. And then I just make sure that I tailor it to meet that job using words in that job, keywords in that job, using the language in that job. Make sure that it is tailored to that particular application. So yeah, I've talked about that. So yeah, I just put an example here of a supporting statement. Now, what I did different here was to the first part of it, I just gave like a very short, which is most this was what I was doing before. This first part, I just write everything like this and then just put it there. But I do this bit very tailored, very short, very concise, and then I begin to address each of the key criteria. So what you're looking at currently is my supporting statement for this current job I'm in NHS. So
Okay. Want us to move?
yes,
So
and
in
yeah,
continuation. Okay.
yeah. So you can see one thing I struggled with was being concise. But when I look at Adebola's template, and then I looked at some that I've done after she gave me her template, I was like, I think I need to be concise because they don't have time to be reading plenty things. So this is what it looks like. This is what mine looks like. So I have to make it concise using examples where I've done that. So if you look at every one of this, you would see I am telling you and showing you, okay? in Sterling Tech, I did this, I did that. Because of what now, if you look at what I also used to do before was so where you have number two, I'll write the particular criteria I was addressing, but there was no the word limit was doing miracles. So I had to remove it. I just put number one, which is maybe the number one on that job application, and just, type what I need to type. And then number five, number six. So sometimes you can have more than this. What I do if I see that it's too much, I just combine. Not for the essential ones, maybe for the desirable ones, I just combine them. Similar ones, just combine them and just address them. Um, Yeah, and that's me done.
Okay, so thank you, Lorena. Should we take some questions,
Yeah.
particularly for Lorena before Adibola jumps in? I think we're doing okay for time so far. Let's stop sharing and take questions from. So anyone with a question, raise your hand, please, and we'll take it. Okay, go ahead, Eric.
Thank you, Veronica. Lorena, that was a very, what's the right word? Very, very insightful and detailed presentation. Thank you for sharing. I have a couple of questions for you. My first question is, one, what are your thoughts around applying using AI
Good one. That's a good one. We discussed that.
based
Okay, go
based
on.
on based on NHS and civil service? And then you said that you have to tailor your applications to each job, which is what Veronica has also been telling us. But what are your thoughts around if you see similar roles, like maybe projects, PMO analyst, project manager in the same in the same NHS, perhaps even in the same office? What are your thoughts around applying for maybe three different roles in the same place at the same time? I ask that because you might have to tailor your CV for each of them differently. Does that send a different message to the recruiter or not?
No, but your skills are the same, isn't it? So why should that? But anyway, Lorena, go ahead and answer.
And so I'll start from the last one. Um, um, I feel now the thing is, if you're applying for different, say for example, in a particular trust, there's PMO, there's project manager, there's maybe assistant project manager. I would say apply for all of them because it may not, you will think it's one person that is going to look at it. It is
Hmm.
not.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be the same department.
Yep.
So apply for all of them, but tailor your application. That's all I would say. Apply, but tailor. Now, when it comes to AI, I've seen some, most majorly recently for civil service and NHS, where they tell you you have to
Declare.
declare if you use AI.
Mm-hmm.
Now, personally, my belief is we are in a world where we have tools and AI is a tool.
Mm-hmm.
How we use it is what matters. Now, you don't want to go writing, when you use AI. I use AI, I use ChatGPT to tailor my responses. If you're going to do when Veronica tells you that you're going to send out 10
Mm-hmm.
applications again, sorry if you're not from Sterling. Um, and then you have to tailor all of these applications, and then you have your own personal job. Please,
You use
we're
AI.
going to use the
Exactly.
tools we have
Mm-hmm.
to make our life easy. That's why they are tools. Now, if they ask you I think there is one I saw recently where they'll tell you, did you use it for everything or did you use it for some part? Or I use it for some parts because it cannot, I'll still have to read what it has delivered.
Mm-hmm.
I would still have to make sure that I have had to tell ChatGPT this is wrong.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've had to
Exactly.
tell ChatGPT, I don't like lying on my supporting statements. Rewrite that. No,
Of
practically,
course.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I've told it, use the experience I have given you to deliver this. Don't put something that is not on there.
Mm-hmm.
And it rewrites it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. Because whether you use AI or not, if you're called for the interview, AI will not be the one doing the, you are the one going to defend what you have written.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you use AI or not, it is still you that is going to have to respond by the time you go for interview.
Well, how
Again,
would you declare? So I think that question, would you declare it
yeah,
is
yeah, 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 I would.
good?
I
Okay.
would.
Okay, good.
And I don't want to think that recruiters would
Have an issue
you
really.
down or have a because they are using it as well.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll mark you down for saying you use AI as long as you declare.
Okay. Good one. Adebola, what's your thoughts on that one from your experience? Sorry, because that's a very significant one, which is so what is your experience and what's your own thoughts on that?
Hi everyone. I think I agree with Lorena. I don't think there's anything wrong with using AI. For my application, for the role that I'm in now, I did use ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it depends on how you use it.
Yep.
I just put in my CV, my experience, and I just talk to ChatGPT like I'm talking to anyone around
Yep.
me. Like, okay, this is my experience, this is what I've done.
Yep.
I'm applying for this role. These are the application questions. How do I meet this criteria? How do I meet this essential? I put it there and I put it and with examples. It comes up with examples. I read it.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't like the wording, I change it. If I don't like the example, give me another example. There are times that I see criterias and I'm like, I don't know what this is. Have I done this? And I put in ChatGPT
ChatGPT, exactly.
and answer this question in the star approach. And then it gives me the example, and I'm like, oh, I've actually done this.
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm seeing the wordings or how they've put it, I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is. I don't think I've done this. But when ChatGPT reads my CV or my experience and then it gives me an example, or oh, at this place you did this, I'm like, oh, so this is what they're talking about. So it depends on how you use it, and you don't just copy and then garbage in, garbage out. Read it, and you can as well say, oh, I understand what this thing is saying. This is what I can defend. This is what I've done. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I used it, so I wouldn't come here and say I did it myself. I did use ChatGPT. So it depends on how you use it, like Lorena said. So
And
that's
and
me.
you were not and you are in the job today. So that's to say
Oh,
that
yes.
you were not penalized for using
To the
ChatGPT.
glory of God, yes.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay. Eric, what did you say you had one more question? Or are you okay with that?
Yes, I wanted to ask
Yeah, go on quickly before.
for the star approach,
Mm-hmm.
okay. For each essential and desirable should I say requirement,
Criteria.
are you saying that we should write a response for each using the star approach?
Yes, brother.
Yep.
That's a lot of work.
I know. My say
That's
that was
why you
the
use
same.
AI.
That was the same reaction I had when Adebola told me. I was like, what kind of work is that?
Okay, maybe that would take us nicely into Adebola's. So do you want to quickly share from your end? Because Lorena has been referring to a lot that she gained from you. So maybe if you talk us through and then we'll talk about the what do you call it? What's the word? Sponsorship element and all those things we discussed. Just, but at least talk us through your own.
To be honest, I think Lorena has been giving me too much credit than I deserve. I've been hearing Adebola here, and I'm like, okay, is this the same Adebola I know?
Yes, it
Anyways,
is.
hi guys. Honestly, I wasn't prepared for this, and then even if I was, I'm not sure what's more to add after a teacher has spoken. Lorena, you put me on a So I'm just gonna just talk about the supporting statement mainly because Lorena has said almost there is to say, everything there is to say. So Veronica, is it okay if I share some raw truth?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, please, by all means. Yes, yes, yes.
Right, because
Mhm.
I didn't have slides. I didn't know I was going to come on this.
That's okay. That's fine. Just wanted to.
Right. So firstly, I'm just gonna talk about the sponsorship. So
Mm.
with sponsorship, I'm sure we are all aware about the new
Yep,
rules everywhere. So salary thresholds and all that. So you need to be aware of the band you're applying for if it meets the salary threshold.
yep,
And before now, I know a lot of people would usually go for lower bands. I'm not sure why, I think it's that okay, I'm just coming into tech, or I need to get my foot in the door. People go for band 4, band 5 roles. And I would usually say when I talk to people, like a lot of people go for lower roles for whatever reason, but the higher bands that are there, if you don't have too many people applying, competing for those roles, so go for higher roles.
Mm.
But the salary threshold, he has not, so definitely we are not talking about lower bands. If you're looking for sponsorship, you're talking about higher bands.
Mm.
And so we're looking like band 6, band 7 upward. And I've seen in my own job, I have band 8A, band 8B roles, and it's their first time within the NHS.
Wow.
So that's not to say it's not possible.
Mhm.
I went for a band 7 role. I was looking for band 6 roles. I don't even know how I applied for the band 7 roles, and I got the band 7 role. Bear in mind, I've never had, of course, there are transferable skills, but I never really worked in the corporate world. When I was in Nigeria, I think I worked my service year and then 1 year as a front desk receptionist. That's the only 2 years I ever worked within the corporate space.
So
And
what did the trick for you? You need to give the credit to where it
yeah,
goes.
yeah, yeah, I'm going to get there. And when I left, I just went into my own business. And when I came into the UK, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Everybody's doing care, da, 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 da. And then I found Veronica. And I tell you, I learned how to share screen in Sterling. I did not know how to share screen. Yes, we had the basics, the communication skills, blah, 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 all of those, but I didn't have any experience as to what happens in the corporate world. I was a front desk receptionist, so I don't really do much.
Mm.
So my point is, Sterling Tech gave me everything that I needed, like every experience. It was very hands-on. Apologies to those that didn't go to Sterling Tech, but I have to give credit to who credit is due. So that's where I got all of the experience I had. My examples, everything was from Sterling Tech, everything. Like I said, I didn't know how to share screen. I'm going to share screen now. Thanks to Veronica, I know how to share screen. Even to presentation skills, all of those things.
Yeah,
Veronica will tell you have to present. Whether you are shy, me, I'm a very shy person. You have to present. You will present, you will facilitate, you cannot hide.
yeah.
And she will say to you, do you are afraid? Yes, do it afraid. It
Mhm.
doesn't, even as I'm on the job, I have band-aids here, band-aid B's. I'm like, oh, can you tell me this? They're like, Adebola, I don't even know what's going on. They don't know as well. We all learn
Mhm.
as we go.
On the
So don't be
job,
afraid to
yeah.
go for those big higher roles, higher bands. As long as you have those experiences, you'll be fine.
Okay, cool.
So thank you, Veronica. Thank you, Sterling Tech. So now I'm going to share, just
Yeah,
show you. I'm sure if you've been applying on the NHS, you probably know this. Apologies for the raw footages. I wasn't prepared for this.
okay.
Let me just find my screens. Okay.
I even remember when you first got this job, you were like, oh goodness, you were always
I,
messaging.
I tell you.
Yeah.
So can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So if you're applying within the NHS and you're looking for what's it called now? Sponsorship rules. I'm sure we all know this section where you find certificate of sponsorship.
Yep.
You scroll down. So if you're under pressure, if you have very limited months on your visa sponsorship, on your post-study or whatever sponsorship you are on, you want to be sure that the role you're applying for, um, they're going to sponsor you. So you find that here. If you've got time on your visa, yes, you can apply for roles that do not have sponsorship on the adverts. And when you get into the role, you can find out what's going on, talk to your manager or keep applying, but that still helps you get your foot in the door. At least you're doing a project and you have the experience. But if you're pressed for time, you have to be sure to look for roles. If you scroll down, when you get on the job, you scroll down and you'll find it here. So this definitely they will sponsor you. Just be
Mhm.
sure that you meet the salary threshold. Then, but going on the application, Lorena said almost everything. So I'm just going to show you my own application. When we say we all like to say examples like, yes, we know this, we know that. Okay, how? Just show us.
Oh, exactly.
So
Yeah.
this is my own, this was the job specification for my job. So with NHS, when you're applying, you want to make sure that you don't leave anyone blank, like you fill all of those, like everything, just put something there. And when you get to this person's specification, this is where you want to focus on. This is your selling points. and they are very keen on the person specification. Now, there's person specification, there's skills and all that, but they are very, very keen on the person specification. Like my manager told me when I started on the job, of course, with NHS as well, it's also, I think they use the marking criteria or something. They will also mark you. You can be on the job and not get the job. Like I had
Oh, really?
yes, I had a senior program manager that was on contracts and they wanted to put the role as a permanent role. He applied for his own role
And he
and
didn't get it.
he didn't get it. No,
Wow.
he didn't because they mark you down. He's marking. So if you don't, they give you
If
to
you don't
yeah,
perform.
yeah. So
Oh, wow.
they are very keen about this one. This will get you the interview. I'm sure interview call or interview session is a different, that one will be a different
Mhm.
thing. But with it, so they are very keen about person specification. So for the role I'm in now, this was the person specification, all of this. And like Lorena said, you have to answer everything. I used to do that supporting statement, like you write your CV, be your cover letter, just write everything and all that. I wasn't getting any interview up until I did this. And I did it for just two applications, I think. And I got interview for both applications. The first one, I didn't get the role, and then I got this one.
So do you want to break this down, what you mean? So is it every single
Yep.
bullet point?
Yeah, I'm going to show you my
Okay.
supporting statement. So this was the person specification for my role.
Yep.
This was it. So he has the essential and he has the desirable. So when they are marking you, the first thing they mark is the essential criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you have the same score with someone else, if you both have the same score with the essential criteria, then they go on to the desirable criteria to mark you. So say I have 60, you have 60, and then
Mm.
I don't have any desirable and someone else has desirable.
They will
Best
put
believe that
that
person is
person.
getting the interview. Well,
Yeah.
that person will be shortlisted before you. Of course, you might get it. So then comes the desirable criteria. So that's why it's also advisable to put something down for your desirable criteria.
Mm.
Right? Then for these skills, you can just put that down, like just it doesn't have to be each one. Of course, even when you're answering your person specification, all of this would have been answered. All of these skills and where you would have been answered in your person specification. So here I think I have about, I'm not sure how many bullet points, maybe 10 or 12. And there are some that I don't have. Like
Okay.
where it says evidence of, I can't even remember, something about
So what do
NHS.
you do with
Don't
those? You
have it.
ignore those.
I
Oh,
will just skip it because I didn't knowledge of the NHS, including structures. I didn't have that, so I didn't put it. I didn't want to lie, so I
okay.
didn't put it.
But that did not hold. So those, sorry,
No,
just that's
no.
it is important because people are like, what do I need to have? I put a post the other day that if you don't have NHS expense, that really shouldn't stop you. You should look at all the other elements that you can,
Yeah,
right?
it shouldn't.
Yeah.
It shouldn't stop you. If you have like Veronica always, if you have about 50%, I'm sure you're good to go.
Yes.
So this was the person specification, and this was my supporting statement. Sorry, it's very raw. I didn't prepare
Okay.
for this. So
Okay.
this was my supporting statement.
Okay.
Scroll
So you
down.
still have access to
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's always there on the track. So this is it. So this is my essential. So everything one by one, experience of developing plans and implementing new ways of blah blah blah. Then I answered it. Oh, I spearheaded it, did this, I did that.
Mhm.
Right?
Mhm.
You can take a screenshot if you want to, or if I can send that to Veronica if she's going to send you the slides after this session. So
No,
I answered
we're not
all of
sending
the,
slides. We're sending slides to those joining the membership. So
yeah,
that's
okay. So
yeah.
I answered all of this, all of this, all of this. I did answer. And then I came down to desirable criteria. After I did the essential, I came down to desirable. I answered the ones that I do have. And on the question, they will ask you, what are your reasons for applying? What can you offer? Why are you the best for the role? I picked everything, reasons for applying and unique strengths. I put something down. What I can offer, I put something down. Just what sets me apart, I put something down. So it might be like it's a lot of work, but you have to do what you have to do.
I
It's
guess if
very
you do it
draining.
properly,
Mhm.
I mean the first two, three we should go through. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you might think it's very draining, but if you put the time and effort into it, you don't have to do too many applications.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say it's an automatic pass to get an interview, so that you don't you don't say, oh, they said no. We are rooting for you. You won't have to be drained or before you get an interview, but just put in the effort, put in the time, and you definitely get an interview if you do this. There are some that you will find like I don't think they put like this one. It has about 10, I think. Some will be just 5, some will be 6. It might not be up to this, but just focus on the person's specification. Focus on it. And before you do that, like Lorena said, you have to read the job description. There are some things that you, even when you read it, you know you cannot do it. Some people have experience with infrastructure, with building and all that. Yes, if you know it's something you can do, go for it. But if you know you don't have, somebody come and tell me to come and do project management for building, and maybe when I get there, I might be able to do it. But the first thing in my head is, no, can you find me IT? Yes, IT was what I did, but what I'm doing now is not IT. But how did that help? Everything is transferable.
Yeah.
Everything is transferable. When I looked at the job description, I'm like, okay, there's nothing IT here. But I looked at it, I'm saying improvements, work, and all of that. Yes, we did IT in Sterling, but all of it was about whether we're trying to implement a software or something. It was about um how to improve customer service, you know. So it's about improvement. So I just looked at, okay, it's still the same thing. It works. I can transfer the skills.
Yeah.
And when I got to my interview, when they were asking me questions, I was giving them examples of my IT. Give them
Exactly.
every answer. For every answer, I give example. So that way, oh, okay, you did this, you implemented this software. Yes, you're not coming here to implement this software, but what was that for? Oh, it was to improve this. How did you improve it? Oh, we did this by this, by that. And they were able to, you know, see that, okay, you could work with what they were doing. They were into improvement and all of that. So there's no knowledge is waste. It doesn't mean because you are IT, you can't do something else, or because you are, but just once you read the job description, you know that is what you can do. You know that is something that has passed through you. So I know the pressure for jobs, we want to apply for everything and anything, but that will just drain us out. So it's better to just focus on what we can do and just that energy that we have to do it right. And I think this is something that's really worked. Like I've had the opportunity to the word is not mentor, like just talk to people about this, about 6 or 7 people, and they all got interviews. Yes, not all of
That's
them.
mentoring. That's you, you're a mentor. And they got
Yeah,
interviews.
yeah,
Career coach.
they all got interviews,
Yeah,
and
career
this
coach.
was all we did. You know, we went through the applications together, prepared
Wow.
for interviews together, and you know, to
Yeah,
the glory
yeah.
of God, you know, some of them are in their jobs today, and some are still, you know, searching.
You didn't
There's
tell me
no,
this one, Rodipa.
ma.
I said you didn't tell me that you have been a career coach.
No, 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 it's just something. It's not.
I know.
So I think
Anyway,
that's about it for supporting statement. Your supporting statement is your win to get an interview. That's all I can say. Every other thing Lorena said. So if you have any question for me concerning supporting statements or
yeah. Okay, so
okay,
let's
I
take
think
some
I'd
questions.
stop sharing.
Yes, thank you very much. Let's take questions. Anybody, especially those that are not in Sterling. So if you're outside of Sterling and you have specific questions, please go ahead. So we have Joe, we have Sam, Sudin. Do you guys not have any questions?
There's a question in the chat.
Oh, really? Where is the chat? Praise, can you see the question? No, someone just said hi, Lorena, I think. Is there any other
I
one?
saw Samsudin typed a question about certification. Do you need a certification for applying to NHS? Something like that.
Okay, maybe one of you to answer that. Why am I not seeing it?
Yeah, on the so where it says the criteria, they will put it there if it's essential for you to have Prince 2 or PMP, they'll put it there. So it depends on what's on the
Hmm.
it
So, but
depends on what's on
for you
the
got both. Did that stop anything? So, what was that a requirement? Was that a desirable or an essential requirement at any point? Was it
I think
stated?
for mine, it did ask for Prince 2, I think. I'm not sure, except I have a look again. I think it was on the criteria to have Prince 2. But it would say, or equivalent, if you don't have Prince 2, it would say equivalent to,
Equivalent experience,
yes,
yeah.
experience. Yes. So yeah, you might just get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Any?
I want to a quick follow up on that. So if
Okay.
you don't have the Prince 2 or
Question.
PMP or any other one, do you think that's sets you that doesn't give you a competitive edge?
I don't think.
It do, you know, so that's where you put in your equivalent experience. So you don't have the Prince 2, but if you got experience like working on projects, that's your experience with Prince 2. If you've used Prince 2 to
Hmm.
on projects, so just put your experience on there. So that's still the same thing as someone who's got the Prince 2.
Yeah, I think Lorena mentioned that. So probably what you can do, Eric, in that one. So for example, if it says it requires Prince 2 foundation, so what you would do is to look at what Prince 2, because Prince 2 has some key elements, processes, they have some, so maybe you look at that and say, okay, how can I get some transferable, something that I've done that, for example, Prince 2 talks about stakeholder management. Prince 2 talks about tailoring to suit. So, for example, you have worked in Sterling, you have or worked on any project, and maybe you have worked on, I don't know, deploying a CRM solution, and you have to now say, okay, on that project, one of the things that you did as a project manager was supporting the organization to ensure that they are tailoring to suit, they're tailoring to suit whatever solution they're exploring. So it's just looking at, I know I can't remember off the top of my head, but Prince 2 has some pillars in terms of the key principles, elements, and stuff. So maybe you look at that and then find an equivalent experience or that you have or a skill that you can use. So I think like from what the ladies have said, it's really tailored how you can explore your transferable skills to match some of those things that maybe you don't even have or you didn't even think about. Lorena gave her own example about training and she was a teacher, even though it was 10 or how many years. So you can draw from any of those things. I think again is how you word it, how you are able to craft it so that it sounds like, oh, well, okay, this person doesn't have Prince 2 as a certificate, but they have demonstrable experience or skill from, different things that they have done. So, but again, there might be a situation where they really want that certificate. So that could be, something. But instead of you saying, "Oh, I don't have Prince 2, I won't apply," rather than doing that, you now say, "Where can I draw from?" Lorena mentioned drawing from different, maybe part of her career history from how many years ago that meets that requirement. So you might want to do that if you don't have that actual certificate as a document or as an evidence. So that's what I would. So don't say I won't apply because it says you must have Prince 2 certificate. Well, how can I draw from what I have, to meet some of the criteria that you have from Prince 2. But like they said, it doesn't mark you down really. So you don't say I won't apply, but you find a way to kind of demonstrate what you have. Okay, Fumi, it's telling guys, you guys are taking over. Nobody wants to ask questions from outside. Right, go on then. Fumi. Hello, Fumi, you have your hand raised.
Fumi, you are muted.
Okay, does anybody else have any question? We're going to round up. So your hand is raised for me, but we
Yes,
can't.
sorry. I was trying to find the thing on my phone to unmute. Thank you, Lorena and Adibola. Just a quick question. How were you able to, with your training and your practical work in Sterling, how were you able to, on your applications, if, for instance, now you said you did training in Sterling and then you also worked there, um, as for work experience, how were you able to do that in your applications and interviews? To relate the two together.
So on my application, it wasn't put there that I did
As
training. What I
training,
did with
exactly.
Sterling is work experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever training you do, that's you having a job experience. Because are you with Sterling?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I'm with Sterling. I'm with
Yeah, so
Sterling. Yeah.
everything you do is just that's all you do when you're in your workspace.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's your job experience. You wouldn't necessarily say, "Oh, I did
Yeah.
training at Sterling." What
Okay.
you did
So you
your
split it up, you separate it. So don't call it. I think I corrected that on someone's CV. I think I corrected that on your CV, Eric. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yes, yes. So
yeah,
you don't
exactly.
put the Sterling training there, you put the just this
The
experience.
experience.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
work experience. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Anyone else? We're having a round up soon.
Hello.
Alicia, hello.
Sorry, I was trying to raise my hand. This is my first time here. Sorry if I draw people back. It was just a friend that shared this link and said, quickly join and say, because of our
It's all right.
communications and all that. So
Fine.
I've been hearing Sterling Careers, and I don't know if anyone can put me through to
Yeah,
what
we
you
will talk
do.
about that shortly. We'll talk about that.
Okay, okay. And then with regards to the one I heard when I came in, so my question is, I'm more of clinical.
Okay. Hello? We've lost her. Hello? I think we've lost her. Are you
Yeah, I
guys?
think yeah, she's off, but there's I think Zainab's hand is also off now.
Zainab, hi, go ahead. I think we lost the
What's
other.
the other thing? Hello, good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Um, Thank you for all of this. I just had a quick question.
Yeah.
I noticed that the speaker, she put our experience with you, she really leveraged on that. I saw in the person specification that she referred to that experience a lot. But I wanted to ask, what if it's a situation where you've, let's say, have done the boot camp since last year and I'm applying for a job this year? Is it still very relevant for me to
Oh,
leverage that, or does it affect it in any way?
no. Okay, guys, go ahead and respond. Either Debola or Lorena. So you done your boot camp in what course? Sorry, what program? What did you do boot camp on?
Project management.
Project management. Okay, so you are post boot camp.
Yeah.
Guys, what would you say?
I think your experience is your
It
experience,
is exactly. It
irrespective
doesn't
of
matter.
when you did the experience. So
Yeah.
if you're talking about the what's it called, gap in employment, then that's a different thing.
Mm,
But when it comes down to the experience, your experience is still your experience. Whether you had it 5 years ago, last year, and
mm.
then not having project management experience in the last year, then that will be talking about gap in employment, and you
Yeah, then that's I think that's a major part of it as well.
yeah, then you just have to put whatever
What are
it
you
is
doing now? Yeah, yeah,
going
yeah.
on in that
My
period.
job right now is not related to project management.
Okay. So what is it related to? You said, oh, you the one that said you're in clinical. Was it you? No. So what are you doing now since the
Right
boot
now,
camp?
I just work with an agency, so it's not really like I don't how do I put it? It's not tech related. It's not.
It doesn't matter. So tell us. So if you recall, the first person was talking a lot about transferable skills. Even Adibola, I think you did mention that. So I guess
Yeah,
it depends on, okay, you want to get into project management, right?
yeah,
You want to also draw from that boot camp that you did a year ago. So like Adibola has said, your experience is your experience, regardless of how long ago it was. You want to be able to draw from that to say, I did this, I did that, when you're tailoring your supporting statement and all of that. Now, maybe to fill up the gap, you what are you what you're doing now? Is there anything that is remotely close to project management, or it might even be soft skills related, it might be engaging with people, stakeholder management, that's another way to call it,
mm,
communications, and all of that. So again, it's really sitting down to say the thing that I'm doing now, are there two or three or four bits that can be transferable that, into project management, regardless of what that title is,
mm.
on the job that you're doing. So you can still draw from that. So I guess it's for you to sit down and say, okay, one, you have done the boot camp, so you need to use that. It does. Lorena mentioned 10 years, I think, drawing from 10 years from in her career history. So she was still able to draw from that. 1 year is even nothing. So whether it's 3, 4, 5, 10 years, so long as it is relevant, so it has to be relevant to this thing that you're applying for. Then, of course, not everything will be transferable. So you've got to sit down and look. That's why she said go through the job description properly, look at what they're asking for, and then draw from your past experience, regardless of what that job title was. It doesn't have to be called project management. Plus, again, these days, I think that I was putting out some posts recently saying you don't have to limit yourself to that title, because again with the NHS they call, I think, the service delivery, there is different titles, and so you don't just say, oh, because my it was project management, so it could have been called anything. But I guess it's the skills, is the experience, is things that you can demonstrate as evidence from that thing that you did a year ago. But for the gap, this thing that you're doing today, is there anything? So you got to look at it and say, is there anything that is close to, what is required? Forget about the title because that again is just semantics. It is what you've done as evidence, to be able to meet the criteria on the job spec.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's definitely things to pull from it, like customer service and
Uh-huh.
that.
So start going writing down. Just start building your like call it noisy gap analysis, we call it. So just write down as much as you can remember from what you're doing today, so that way there isn't a gap. It is just saying, okay, what is it that I can transfer that is of course relevant to whether it's project support, whether it's project coordinator or project manager. There's different titles within that project that management space. So again, it's just to sit down and it could be three, four, and that might just be sufficient for you to actually use as evidence when you're completing your application.
Okay, thank you.
That help? Okay. Right, we have who else? We're going to round up soon. Is that you, Eric, again?
Yes.
Is the person back? There was somebody who was, I think she dropped.
Yeah, I think I does something.
She's gone, right? She didn't come back. Okay.
She's not back here.
Okay, that's fine. Go on, Eric.
Yeah, just a quick one. I wanted to get your thoughts, Adebola and Lorena. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your sharing your experiences. What are your thoughts around recruitment timelines for the NHS or civil service and locations? Are there certain locations that have more jobs than others? And then maybe the third one would be, how has the working environment been for the two of you?
Did you guys understand the question? Are you saying that are there some really high opportunity areas in terms of
Yeah, that's one. Are there high opportunity areas? Is it more in the London area? Is it more in the Midlands? And then are there seasons where demands for jobs in the NHS or civil service are higher? Like is it after the summer, end of year, early year? Yeah.
Okay, I'm not really familiar with civil service, but with NHS, I think they're always putting out jobs whenever there's an opening. I don't think it is.
Mm.
I know some people would say around
summer is quiet? Yeah.
April, May, when they just what's it called now? This their
The
new
financial year. Yeah.
financial year. I know some people
Mhm.
do say that, but
Mhm.
as far as I know, I think when there's an opening, they just put it out. But yes, it might make sense that financial year, when they are approving budgets and all that, new roles might be coming up. And as per location, I can't really say to that, but obviously there will be more competition around London area
London. Yeah.
than the West Midlands than,
Yeah.
so that's all I can say. There are more people competing for jobs in London. Even within the West Midlands, there are probably more people competing for jobs in Birmingham,
Mm.
like, more than probably Stafford.
Hmm.
So that would depend as well.
Yeah.
Marina, I don't know if you have anything to add, but I'm not really
I
sure.
think I think you've just said it. That I know some people also say there are more jobs. People tend to move when they come back from summer or something. So maybe around September, October, there are more jobs around that area. But I don't know for NHS. For civil service, I know there are sometimes you check and there are no project management jobs like that. So it comes and goes. You just need to just keep checking. Yeah.
Mm. And again, I think that job title. So yes, you want to get into project management, but remember there are stepping stones. So there are project coordinator, there are project admin, there's different. So you need to broaden, like I say within Sterling, you need to broaden your search. So you're not just searching project manager. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys, Lorena and Debola can speak to that. There will definitely be different titles, but within that project space. So you can even explore getting in as a project coordinator. You can get in as a project administrator, and then I think with the NHS they might have specific titles that they call them. So I don't know what you guys have experienced in terms of titles, so people know that it's beyond typing project manager in your search. criteria. So what's your thoughts on that one? What other did you broaden your search, when you were searching?
Yeah, I remember one civil service application I did. I think I went for the interview as well for that role. Um, what I just typed in the search bar was raids log.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
So
look at that.
yeah.
Helen, guys, can you hear? So yeah, you see what I've been saying. You don't only have to write project manager.
Yeah, you can just maybe type the skill or something because I know raids log is majorly is a project manager
PMO,
skill.
project coordinator, or
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we can do that as well.
And so when you type raid log, what came up
I can't even remember, except I check. I can't remember the name of that role again. So every role that has rate log in it
will come up.
would come up. Yeah.
That's a good one. Adibola,
Interesting.
how was that? I know. Adibola,
Yeah,
did you?
yeah, I agree. Those the title, they are different. There's service delivery, project delivery officer,
Mhm.
project. There are different roles, but when you read the job description, it's just the same thing.
Yeah, but when
Different.
you're searching, is just to be familiar with some of these job titles outside of project manager,
Mhm.
to search. And in fact, you can even ask AI. So, guys, we're going to round up. I know this was meant to be an hour. I've taken your whole evening, but let's talk about your use of AI that helped you. So let's round that up so people can take some things, and then I'll tell you guys about selling tech and all of that. So, how did AI help you from tailoring your your supporting statement to CV if you needed that? To even interview prep and all of that, maybe both of you can just very quickly tell us a little bit about your experience with the use of AI. Lorena, since you started, do you want to go first?
Yeah. So I used ChatGPT
Okay.
for my applications. What ChatGPT helps me to do because I have,
Train it.
will I say, trained it
Mm-hmm.
to respond in a particular way. I've told it what I need. So when I put in a job and say, I am applying for this job, this is what I just give me. So he already knows what to give me. The He already, because I've trained it, he already knows this. It highlights the key skills. So what I say is for the skills part, I say highlight the skills that this recruiter is looking for based on this job description and person specification. So it lists all of that. I look at the ones I have and then put them on. It already knows how I want my
What is it?
supporting statements.
Mm-hmm.
It already knows I am going to tailor my previous job histories. So it already knows. So because I've trained it and then it's got my CV for sometimes I can just prompt it, this statement you've written, grade it according to the scoring system I have given you. And it tells me, what's the word now? You can ask ChatGPT to reason and then score what it has done, like criticize, yeah? You can ask ChatGPT to criticize its own work,
Mm-hmm.
and it can do that. So when I'm not satisfied, I say, because you're reading it, you know if it fits what you want or not. So I say, criticize what you've done and tell me what grading this falls under. And sometimes it tells you it's 4. And I say, I am aiming for a 6 or 7. And it rewrites that. And then you check through and see if it's done what you need it to do. So yeah, I use ChatGPT, but then you have to really read, you know,
The
and
JD.
then see if it's doing what you want it to do. Yeah.
Okay. Adibola, what was your experience with ChatGPT? So would
Um,
you
and I must
recommend?
mention, I'm so sorry.
That's
I
okay.
must mention when it comes to interview prep, for this job I'm on, I'd asked it to prep me for the interview, give me likely questions.
Mhm.
I know people say it gets the question, but for mine, in all the thing he gave me, it's only one
That came up.
that came out as a question in my interview. Every other thing didn't.
What
So
do you think happened there?
I'm not really certain what happened. Maybe because on the job description they didn't really specify. And then in my interview, most of the job leaned towards the service delivery and IT rather than project management, very little of project management. So they ask me questions based on service delivery, and I'm answering from my project management perspective.
Mm.
And then, the Lord showed me mercy. One of the person that was interviewing me, who is like a senior manager, she would now tell me what it is in service delivery. For
Mm.
example, she asked me, what is a problem record? And I'm like,
What
problem
is
records?
that
That sounds like
exactly?
our rate log.
Mm.
Because we have in the rates log, we also record issues.
Yep.
So I explained the rates log and then the issues log.
Mm.
And she said, well, in service delivery,
It's
we in
all
project
together.
management record every issue,
Mm.
but in service delivery, they don't record every issue, they record problems, and problems are things that have affected everybody.
And
But
that's an
that's not what we
issue.
do in project management. Every single issue.
Mm.
Yeah, so those similarities. So for what happened there, I would just say maybe he didn't anticipate that the question will be heavy on one side of that job description. So that was what I think happened. The only thing that came up was something that had to do with the values. Interview about the values, and I just twisted because what he gave me was not even exactly the question, but I knew it was related. So I just twisted it all and just
But
answered.
that
Yeah.
is AI. It's not 100% that you could say.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
You
That's what I wanted to say. It's not
yeah,
100%.
you need to still tweak where which.
Yeah.
Okay, Adibola, quickly before we go. What did you?
Yeah, so I think it just depends on the prompt. For my application, what I just did was I put my CV, of course, I took out the sensitive data,
Mm.
and I'll just ask ChatGPT, like, this is my CV, this is what I've done, and I'm applying for this role at NHS or whatever I'm applying now. I'm applying for a project management role with the NHS. I've been asked these questions. How do I meet this criteria, considering the experience I've had and the information you have?
Mm.
And then it brings it out. And
Okay.
I take out, tailor, adjust it to my preference. I think that's all I did. I just kept asking if I'm not satisfied. But basically, I always put my CV just so it knows that whatever you're answering has to be related to my experience, to what I've done. And sometimes I just put, okay, and with examples.
Yeah.
So with the examples helped me to put it into perspective. If I don't understand what it's saying, like, okay, so this is what it's saying, then it makes more sense. And for my interview, I think I just put the job description, the person specification, and I just said to generate interview questions based on this. And I kid you not, I was asked, I think 7 questions, and
Wow. Only one.
only one question was not in the question I prepared for.
And this was ChatGPT helping you,
Yeah,
right?
I
So there
prepared
you
for
go.
all of
Everybody
the
has
questions.
different experiences.
I prepared for all of the questions with examples. Give me the answer, and I will say put practical examples. So
Yeah.
some examples I know that I cannot remember this one. I now look at what I've done that
Mm.
looks like the example, and then that's what I use. And when I did my interview, I think my examples helped me because when I answer questions and I'm giving examples, when they ask me follow-up questions, they ask based on the examples I've given.
Mm-hmm.
And all of my examples, of course, were things I did with Sterling. So this is me promoting Sterling and not promoting Sterling. If you are not with Sterling, sorry, but it was everything I did with Sterling that I used as my example. Everything that I did that Sterling that I used as my example, and that really helped.
Yeah. So I guess AI is as good as its
Yep.
prompts. Exactly. So you still need to be able to work with it. So yeah, Fumi, we're going to round up soon. Go ahead.
When they ask you, are there any other questions you need to ask at the end of the interview?
Oh, you have a lot of
Um,
questions now.
what kind of questions do you normally ask them?
I will talk on that, but I want to hear from both of you. So, final questions during your interview.
So during my application process, I had a lot of questions. I would get from probably just going on Instagram, people that just post, I'll put it down, just go on Google. I just had too many questions, right? And for each interview that I went for, I just pick like, okay, this one will be relevant. Simple questions like, what kind of projects
You
do
have
you work
pipeline.
very, you don't want to ask the generic, what do you expect of me in 6 months? But they ask that, oh, what kind of projects do you work on? Do what are the challenges you have with project management? What are the challenges? Like, what you have? Yes, you're doing project management, but what are the challenges specific to the organization or to your project management or to your PMO? Just questions. So for me, I won't give you say that. ChatGPT can help you. You can find questions on Google. There are a lot
And
of
even on the
questions.
website, the trust or whosoever it is that you might
Yeah,
be able to find something on their
yeah.
And you
site.
pick the one that, okay, this makes, with the job description, with what you're asking, okay, this would make sense. It would make sense to ask this question,
Mm,
basically.
okay. Okay, so do we have, I think Sterling guys have just taken over. The lady who was talking, will give you one chance. I think she came back. I don't remember. Was it Adogo? You dropped off and you're back now. Do you want to carry on your question while we round up, before we round up? Was it Adogo? Can't remember. Anyway, any final questions from anybody? People have been quiet. So do you guys not want to know anything in particular? But if
There's a hand up.
I raised my hand. Good evening.
oh, sorry, I didn't see that.
My name is Corey. Sorry, I joined really, really late. I just
Okay,
got the link late. So
okay, that's
I don't know if this was mentioned while they were talking, but I wanted to ask about the how far back where did they join NHS? Is it because what on the street is like maybe these things are not coming so easy or quickly anymore. So I wanted to know if it was something that they're joining NHS or civil service is quite recent. And then for Adiba, I just mentioned now about levels of interviews. How many maybe did she have? She doesn't mind sharing. And finally, to Sterling, I'm not part of Sterling. I just got the details. I mean, I've been in IT, so I'm not new to tech, right? And also PM and BA, but I would like to try and get a shot at the NHS and the sponsorship. So I wanted to confirm if you offer services around that, like trying to nail interviews and at least even get interviews and stuff, not necessarily maybe converting to tech or transiting to tech.
well, yeah, we're going to talk about that. So
Thank you.
yeah, okay. So Ademola and Lorena, sorry, let's take one last question. This is Korede, right? Who was talking?
I joined the NHS, I think it's how many months? Last year,
So it's
my
very
interview was in
recent.
September. Yeah,
Exactly.
very recent. I think I started October last year. And what was the other question? Sorry.
How many levels of interview did you have?
Oh, it was just one.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought it was quite
Yeah,
serious.
mine was one as well.
Oh, nice.
Oh, really? So you didn't have different. I don't think NHS does stages like that. I think it's private.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they
Okay.
usually because they do the application process is so rigorous, isn't it? So if you're able to scale through, what else do they want? So I think that's okay. Yeah. And that was the question. That was all, right? Oh, so for Sterling, yeah. So does anybody have any final question? We are going to round up. It was meant to be an hour. We've done over an hour and a half. No more questions. Right. Okay. So
Sorry, Veronica. Sorry,
yeah,
sorry. I
go on.
just wanted to say I'm gonna drop off now.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you so
All
much.
right, guys. Bye. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Okay, good. So we round up now. Thank you. Debola is going off now. Thank you, Lorena. These two ladies were part of Sterling. They came on, they went through our boot camp and eventually got roles. So what we are introducing, some people have already joined. So we know people have been like reaching out to say, oh, I've done a boot camp, but I want mentoring. So we like post boot camp, or some people have not done a boot camp, but they just want to be in a community where we are going to. Adebola is going to be one of our mentors, so she's going to be talking a lot about. So she will give you a specific details, the templates and all those things she displayed, so you would have access to that. Lorena is also going to be part of it. We have some people, one or two mentors from civil service. One person was meant to join us, but he had something urgent, which he had to go away. So he's moved from project coordinator, PMO, now a senior PM within HMRC. So we've got some mentors in civil service. Now, what we are now launching is for people who feel like, okay, I don't want to join your bootcamp, but I want to be in a community where one, we have, opportunities where you can listen to some of our mentors. Maybe you have interview and you want interview prep, what do you call it, support, guidance, and all of that. And then maybe LinkedIn and CV writing using AI and all of that. So this is a membership community which we are launching in 10 days. Some people have already, and it's a paid community, it's not free, but the way we are doing it is subscription based, which is different to what you would get from our bootcamp. Our bootcamp is 12 weeks and is, of course, premium. But then there are some people who are like, oh, I can't afford £800 to join your bootcamp yet, but I want to explore. So we're now saying £20 only for your membership. And you can say, oh, I've done 1 month. And you can binge everything, have access to, we are going to have training tutorials there. The only thing is you're not going to have access to our projects and all the things that the bootcamp will provide because, of course, that's a premium service. But if you want to be in a community where, we have more detailed sessions. So it's not just an hour and a half, but we do specific examples. Okay, how do you draft your personal statement using AI? We have those walkthrough sessions. How do you prepare for interviews, mock interview prep, and you have access to mentors in that community. Then there's a lot, that would just be there. So monthly, it is £20. You just keep for the founders, what do you call it, offer. So we're just doing that for 10 days. It's going to go up later, but it's just something I just want to introduce so that people who are like, okay, I can't afford that yet, but let me even get into this community. I can ask questions. Maybe as you're doing your application, you might say, oh, I'm in this place, I'm stuck. Oh, Adibola, Lorena, or whosoever, can you look at this? What do you think? Am I on the right path? So you get all of that support within this membership community. And we have like monthly master classes where we are going detailed into different skills development parts, and there's a lot that you will get. So if you decide that, okay, I joined for 1 month, 2 months, and I feel like, oh, I've gotten enough, you can just cancel your subscription and you move on. But if you feel like, oh, I just want to stay on, even on the job support, so maybe you have gotten a job and you're like, okay, my first 30, 60, 90 days, I want to be in a supportive community so I can come in and ask questions, and all of that. But it is not a free community, it's a paid community because we're going to have experienced mentors in from different spheres in that membership. And so for today, we are giving it out for £20. I think the first 20 people, £20 a month, and then it goes up, the subscription will go up. And so that is something that we are launching. For anybody who wants to come on our bootcamp, you can maybe send us a DM on Instagram or however it is, or maybe if you have our emails, you can say, well, I'd like to join the next cohort. We're still taking registration for August. So if you want to get into the full 12 weeks bootcamp, that is an option that you can take. But if you want to be in a supportive membership community, I don't know if praise, if you're on there, if you can drop the link, you can subscribe for the founders, what are we calling it now? Pioneering members offer of £20 a month, subscription based, and that's what we are offering today. So this and a lot more within the membership, and it's just we keep building and adding to it and bringing in more mentors to cover different aspects and to support people that are in that community. So anyone that wants to join, just let us know. I think the link will be dropped there. You can click on the link and you can join at the offer that we're giving for today for the next couple of days. So if nobody has any questions, I don't know if Praise is on here or I can just drop the link. Yeah, so no more questions. I guess this is a good time. I'm just gonna Praise, can you drop that link? Okay, it's on there. So click the
Yes,
link.
I dropped it.
Okay. Oh, we have one other hands. For me, did you ask any question? Did you have any question again? Or was that before? Okay. Yeah, so the link is on there. Join the membership. It is mind is going to be like a no-brainer. Never done that before. You get a lot of value from it. So the link is there. Join the membership, because I'm sure in another week or so it will go up. But then anybody who wants to join our full 12 weeks boot camp in project management. So you're interested in exploring project management, business analysis, GDPR, privacy. That is 12 weeks, hands-on practical experience. So all that Lorena and Debola was talking about in terms of the experience that they used, they got that from the boot camp, and that is a 12 weeks, very practical. So if that's something that you also are interested in, please go ahead and send us an email. Let me just put that there in the chat. Where is chat? Or praise do can you put the email? Oh, yeah. So it is Teams at Sterling Tech. Send us a DM or on any of our social media. I'm sure you'll find our phone number. Send us an SMS. So I hope this has been useful. Take everything that you've heard today. Use AI. It helps. It's not going to count against you, but what you want to do is make sure that you're tailoring it properly. Like we talk about prompt engineering. So AI is as good as a prompt that you give it. If it's not giving you something that is satisfactory, you rework it again and say, rephrase this. Train the AI to understand your background. So put your CV in there, put your career history from whatever, 4, 5 years, 6, 7 years, so it knows you. And then also maybe also add things like these are the sort of roles I'm looking for, or maybe I need sponsorship. AI would tell you the jobs that have just been advertised that have sponsorship offers. It will do that. So you can use it. And then also don't be worried about that question that the NHS will ask you to declare the use of AI. Like the ladies have said, they've used it and it helped them. Adebola said when she started using it, she got interviews immediately, and then she got the job. So it's just how you tailor it, but use it so that it saves you time. Because a lot of people are like, oh, this is a lot of work to tailor to do this. But one thing that would help you save that time is using AI. You're better off using AI to save you time and you get a foot in the door rather than because you're feeling like, oh, it's too stressful, then you don't apply everything that you need to, then you now be on the market for too long because you're just doing one to many. So everyone has said it here, you have to tailor to suit in order for you to get those calls. And that's us done for tonight. Lorena, any final words before we call it a day? So the link is there if you want to join our membership. Feel free to join. Click the link and sign up. Final words, Lorena, and then we call it a day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Veronica. Please come on board, guys. I'm very sure you'll get value. You'll get value. Thank you. Thank you so much. I wish everyone the best.
Yeah.
Please go get your jobs.
All right. Thank you, Lorena. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening and speak soon. Bye-bye.